the region.
So Paul Goodlow in Houston. Well, for the people recovering in the aftermath of Imelda, there are some tips you need to do and take note of right now to get the most out of your insurance claim. And Mark Friedlander joins us now. He's spokesman for the Insurance Information Institute. Mark, thanks for being with us. You know, probably our tendency when something bad happens to our property is we want to get it cleaned up and fixed right away. But that could actually be the wrong thing to do. Why?
Well, the first step is if you've had any type of damage, you want to contact your insurance agent or your carrier. Report the damage and make sure, if you can possibly, take photos and even video of the damage so you have a record of it. But especially with flood damage, you don't necessarily want to go back into the property, back into your home until it's safe to do so, of course.
Yeah, and again, what Mike's really getting at, and I've talked to a number of insurance adjusters who have talked about how they wanted to help people get the maximum claim, but they couldn't because people cleaned up after the disaster and they threw away things that were damaged that were expensive, and they didn't have receipts, they didn't have a photograph, they didn't have the object that was damaged, and they couldn't prove enough to the insurance company to get that claim. So are we on the right track here?
Absolutely. That's why you want to have a visual image of the property that shows the damage. Once again, photos or video is ideal before anything is touched.
When it comes to then the remediation of a flood, because I mean, how many, we don't know now, countless homes have been flooded by Imelda. Where do you begin, and what are the key things to take note of that you want your contractor, if you're going to do the repairs yourself, that you want to do?
Well, first of all, the first step is you need to determine, do you have flood coverage as part of your insurance package? Because flood is a separate policy from your property coverage. So for example, property would cover wind damage. It would also cover, for example, if wind damaged your roof and water came through the roof during the storm, your property policy would cover that. But anything else falls under flood, meaning water from the ground up. That is flood damage, and you need to have a separate policy either from the National Flood Insurance Program or a private insurer to cover that.
Right, and so, assuming you do have that flood insurance and you want to file that claim, I'd be thinking about, well, what do I want to check my home for in terms of what hidden damages maybe that the water did to my home, to the basement, to the walls, and how do I protect myself in signing contracts to get those repairs done once I get my insurance claim checked? Lots of gotchas here.
Well, that's why you need to work closely with your insurance carrier and your agent, because they'll walk you through the process. They will send out an adjuster that will do a detailed analysis of the damage, and they'll also provide you with a list of local contractors, licensed contractors. That's what's critical here. You need to make sure they're licensed, they're above board, and the insurance company will be able to provide you with that type of information.
But what if you want a different contract? I know that you could be provided a list. Do you have to go with who your insurance company recommends?
Not necessarily, but if you do choose a contractor on your own, make sure you check them out carefully. Make sure, once again, they are licensed with the county or the state. They have a good record with the Better Business Bureau. Ask for references and make sure you understand what you're signing before you start the work. And run it by, the important thing is run it by your insurance carrier before you sign that contract.
All right,
Mark, get an estimate, right, and run it by the carrier.
All right, Mark, thank you so much. Good information for those of you that may have to file a really significant insurance claim.